watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Hello, everyone. Good to have you with us on this Thursday afternoon. We begin with breaking news. Madison police are investigating a deadly crash involving a student in the Madison School District that happened this morning on Madison's South Side.
And that's where we find News 3 Now's Nash Dara, who is live at the scene. Nash, what can you tell us?
Susan and Brady, it is tragic news as it has been confirmed that a 17-year-old was killed after being struck by a vehicle on their way to school earlier this morning. 911 responded to South Park Street near Burr Oak Lane 5 minutes after the call at around 7:43 a.m. When on the scene, police began to secure the area, treat the victim, and talk to witnesses. The area is still under active investigation. I spoke with the Madison Police Department's Public Information Officer, Stephanie Fryer, who confirmed the victim's name and gender have not yet been identified.
Really want to stress that, this teen did nothing wrong. They were just on their way to school when this unfortunate incident happened, and was not jaywalking, didn't appear to be, goofing around when they were entering the road, just, was crossing as they should have been doing and was hit by a vehicle.
The female driver of the vehicle remained at the scene after the incident, but right now the exact cause of the accident is still unknown as police look for factors such as impairment, speed, and other possible components. We reached out to the Madison Metropolitan School District, and at this time they were unable to confirm and or identify what school the student attended. For now on Madison's South Side, Nash Dara, News 3 Now.
We'll continue to follow it closely, Nash. Thank you. In Fitchburg, police say 3 people were hurt after a vehicle crashed into a car dealership just before noon today. The crash was reported at Zimbrick, just off of Fish Hatchery Road. Police say 2 of those hurt were seriously injured. Emergency care was given on the scene and everyone was taken to a nearby hospital. The driver is cooperating and police have not mentioned a possible cause of the crash. They did say it did not appear intentional.
Madison police say they've arrested a man after he sexually assaulted a cleaning crew member last Thursday. A cleaning crew member said she was assaulted while alone at a business on Applegate Road, just southeast of where the Beltline meets Fish Hatchery Road. Detectives were able to track down a 37-year-old man based on the victim's description and surveillance footage. Charges have now been referred to the Dane County District Attorney's Office, and the suspect is still in custody.
Now to other developing news this afternoon in Madison.
A school teacher in the city has been accused of possessing child sex abuse materials. Our Eric Franke is here to tell us what he knows so far. Eric.
Well, Brady and Susan, 58-year-old David Fawcett is in police custody after an investigation by members of the Madison Police Department's Special Victims Unit, among other agencies here. The Madison School District confirming Fawcett is a teacher at Nuestro Mundo Community School and that he had been placed on administrative leave during this investigation. It stems from local law enforcement getting a referral from authorities in Texas that Fawcett was allegedly talking online with a minor in that state. Now, officers conducted a search warrant at a residence on South Brearley at Spate Street, just southwest of Orton Park. Fawcett has now been booked into the Dane County Jail on charges of possessing child pornography and also sexual exploitation. Now, right now, it is unclear what police found with that search warrant, but we'll continue following developments in this case right here, as well as on our website, channel3000.com, and on the Channel 3000 app. Brady, Susan.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
Now to a check on the weather. Today is the first day that we're nearing above freezing temperatures. Feels like it's been forever, doesn't it?
It does, and for the most part, it looks like we're staying there, Blaze.
Yeah, hovering right below freezing, but in those 30s across the majority of southern Wisconsin right now. Juneau, we are the only ones not in the 30s club. Everybody else right around 33, 32 degrees. A little bit cooler Madison and the Dells right now, but everybody else at or just slightly above freezing. This is the first time that we have been in the 30s since January 16th. That's when we got to 35 degrees. So that's 20 days since we've been in high temperatures in the 30s and 20 days since our high temperatures were above normal. Nearly 3 weeks we have spent below 30 degrees, and that is going to change. Not only has it changed today, but it's really going to stay that way as we look ahead to the next couple of days as well. Speaking of looking ahead to the next couple of days, more snow is in the forecast moving in as we cross the midnight hour going into Friday. It's really out of here before many of us are even thinking about getting out and hitting the roads for either school or heading to work. We're already at 7 a.m. and most of that has cleared on out of here. How much snow could we receive overnight, and is that the only chance for snow over the next 7 to 10 days? We'll take a look, as well as what the weekend has in store for us in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Blaze. Spring might still feel a little far off. 43 days, right? We're counting down. But one clear sign is already showing up here. This week in Madison, the sun is now setting after 5:15. High five for that. For the first time since November. Back in December, sunsets dipped before 4:30, with the shortest day on December 21st, bringing just more than 9 hours of daylight. Since then, we've been gaining a little more daylight each day, about 2 to 3 minutes right now. By March, that really adds up fast. And with daylight saving time approaching, sunsets will stretch towards 7 p.m. and that'll bring us 11 then 12 hours of daylight. According to reporting from Wisconsin Public Radio, Wisconsin leaders are calling for action after a new state report found more than 900,000 tons of food waste ended up in landfills in 2024. It's about 20% of all trash statewide. The study, released by the Department of Natural Resources, shows most wasted food comes from homes and restaurants, and much of it could have been eaten. State officials say cutting food waste could reduce methane emissions, save families money, and help feed people in need. Wisconsin's goal is to cut food waste in half by 2030.
All of us are paying more these days to power our homes, and it's because of rising energy costs.
Consumer reporter Michelle Renee Quinn looks at the reason behind it and what you can do to cut costs.
Recent data shows Americans paid about 7% more for electricity this November than the year before. And the director of Public Citizens Energy Program says one reason is because of higher delivery costs. Now, delivery fees help cover the cost to build, maintain, and operate infrastructure. Across the county, artificial intelligence data centers are also fueling rising costs. Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says many AI data centers use natural gas generated electricity because it's cheap.
The problem is all of the computers that run these chips and this AI are incredibly electricity hungry. And that is hitting all of us because of the huge demand now for natural gas.
He says lowering your thermostat by a few degrees can make a big difference on your bill. Public Citizens Energy suggests upgrading your windows and doors to keep cold air out. And if you're concerned about rising costs, the program suggests contacting your local leaders as distribution fees are approved by state regulators.
Thank you, Michelle Renee. And you can wake up with Michelle Renee Saturday and Sundays, anchoring weekend mornings right here on News 3 Now.
And don't forget, if you have questions about your consumer rights, Michelle Renee Quinn is getting you expert answers. She's taking your questions to the State Department of Consumer Protection. You can email your questions to mrquinn@wisctv.com and be sure to tune in on weekend mornings to hear your answers.
Well, next on Live at 4, are there a few comfort foods you had as a kid that you've forgotten about or you don't know how to make? We're going to talk to a chef that is honoring all things home cooking.
And if the Super Bowl isn't in your plans or you want more to do, Josh is helping you out with your weekly planner in the 608.
We've heard an update from officials about the search for Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy. Police still believe she is alive, but a main suspect has not been identified.
And Blaze brings us the first warn forecast, possible 40s next week, and he explains what grapple is and who got it this morning.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
It's Thursday, Friday Eve, as we like to call it, which means we're working for the weekend in the 608.
I always get that song stuck in my head whenever we say
exactly.
that. Anyway, Josh Spreiter has the weekend planner for your family.
It's the first weekend of February, and it's a busy one. Here are my 3 things to do this weekend in the 608. Winter is taking center stage on Madison's Lakes as the Frozen Assets Festival returns on Saturday and Sunday. It's hosted by the Clean Lakes Alliance. The annual event invites the community to embrace cold weather fun while highlighting the importance of protecting local lakes. Thousands are expected to gather along the frozen shoreline of Lake Mendota for winter sports, family-friendly activities, live music, and local food vendors. Organizers say the festival is about more than recreation. It's designed to remind people that Madison's lakes play a vital role year-round. Orchid Quest is back in Madison this weekend. It's presented by the Orchid Growers Guild of Madison. The two-day show runs Saturday from 10 to 5 and Sunday from 10 to 3 at the Monona Terrace. The event is the Upper Midwest's largest orchids show and sale, featuring thousands of exotic orchids, nationally judged exhibits, specialty vendors, and activities for the whole family. And finally, the 30th annual Super Bowl will be held at Madison West High School on Saturday from 11 to 2. Different than the actual Super Bowl, of course. Tickets can be purchased at the door or in advance. This community soup feast has become a Madison tradition since 1995 and is the largest fundraiser for the UW-Madison student chapter of Habitat for Humanity of Dane County. Last year's event served more than 1,000 attendees, over 200 gallons of soup. The cost is $25 for a meal and bowl, or $50 for a family of 4. The event also includes a silent auction of artistic bowls created by local artists and a raffle. For more happenings this weekend in the 608, go to channel3000.com. For In the 608, I'm Josh Brighter.
And if you go to the Super Bowl at West High School, you can meet Brady.
Yeah.
Brady will be doling out the soup this weekend.
Serving
Good for you.
starting at noon, so it's a great cause. So thanks for having me out.
Now for a look at the first warn forecast. Blaze is here, and we've joined the 30s club. It feels great.
Yeah, you know, we've been missing it for about nearly 3 weeks, 20 days to be exact, with the last time Madison and a lot of southern Wisconsin, we were in the 30s. Now, as we look ahead to the next couple of days, not only are the 30s in the forecast, but also a few 40s as well. But until we get there, we've got to get through another round of a wintry mix starting later this evening, lasting through the really morning hours, the early morning hours on Friday. You blink and you miss it. We will take it in closer to home, don't worry. But that morning mess is out here by the time we are hitting the roads for the morning commute on Friday. Behind this clipper, a high pressure system moves on in. So as we go throughout the day, it is going to clear out the cloud cover. Winds are going to pick up in speed out of the north. So it is going to be a bit of a chillier Friday night and a chillier Saturday. Back into the 20s will go, which is some good news. It will help kind of solidify maybe a little bit of that ice that melted from today and tomorrow for that 5K on Lake Mendota on Saturday. But as this high pressure system moves off towards the east, those southerly winds really kicking us back into the 30s as we go into Sunday, further into the 40s by Monday. So closer to home, maybe we start to see some of that light snow move on in between 11 and midnight going into Friday, but most of that activity will really peak between midnight and about 3 a.m. on Friday, out of here by the time we go into 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Especially further south and east, we may still be dealing with some of that light snow activity through about 5:36, but for the most part, a lot of us will be quiet by the time we get into that 7 o'clock time frame. And from that point onward, the clouds are going to start to clear on out as that high pressure system moves on in. A clipper doesn't pack a lot of moisture, so we're only looking at about a ½ an inch of snow at best. Once again, further to the north and east around Fond du Lac, Manitowoc, Sheboygan, into the Green Bay area where we see that light blue, that's where we're probably going to squeeze out an isolated inch, maybe an inch and a half. Certainly not looking at widespread heavy snow by any means. And it is all going to melt by the start of next week, because we are back into those low 40s. Monday and Tuesday, we're looking to stay in those 30s, above freezing all throughout next week. And by the day after Valentine's Day, Sunday, we're back into those 40s. So we really have broken down, as expected, getting closer to the middle of February, that pattern that kept us in that really cooler than average temperature trend, which is why most of our forecast high temperatures over the next 7 to 10 days, except for Saturday, warmer than average. So there is a look at our 7 and 10 day forecast. We got the Super Bowl Sunday forecast looking pretty quiet. We got Valentine's Day at the end of our extended forecast in the mid 30s. Not seeing a whole lot in the way of rain or snow. Maybe just a chance tomorrow, and then again by next Tuesday, but that'll probably be more of a rain-snow mix because of how warm we'll be.
But it'll be great for the Frozen Assets Festival this weekend.
It will be, yes. Yeah, you know, this morning, a few of us maybe saw what we thought was snow. That is grapple.
Grapple? Is that the one that's
like
it's like Dippin' Dots, right?
Yeah, like little mini snowballs. Yes, it happens when super cold air kind of rhymes or like steadily freezes, but it falls apart. It is not hail. It is not snow. It's what we call grapple.
It's fun to say, I think.
Grop.
The grop.
Oh, grop.
Thank you, Blaze. Coming up on Live at 4, we're learning more about two major crashes in Madison and Fitchburg. Both happened this morning.
And after an update from the sheriff, there are no suspects in the missing case of Nancy Guthrie, mother of Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie, where the case stands as we enter the fourth day.
And then President Trump says there needs to be perhaps a softer touch when it comes to immigration enforcement in Minnesota. At the same time, he's looking at ramping up operations in 5 other cities.
Plus, the stage is set for the Super Bowl and the teams and the halftime show. We'll hear about what's going into this year's show.
Let's see how stocks fared on this Thursday. The numbers on Wall Street today, a big drop on the Dow. It closed down 592 points. The Nasdaq was off 363 at the close, and the S&P 500 lost 84.
Authorities in Arizona are updating us today in the search for the 84-year-old mother of Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie. The Pima County Sheriff's Department says they believe Nancy Guthrie is still out there, but no suspects have been identified. In an emotional video released on Wednesday, Savannah and her siblings pleaded directly with whoever may be holding their mother and acknowledged the reported ransom letter.
There has been no proof of life, and there was no other demands within that letter. So they're still waiting for communication.
Authorities have shared a timeline showing the window when they believe Nancy Guthrie was abducted from her Tucson home after being dropped off Saturday night. The FBI has announced a $50,000 reward for information leading to Nancy Guthrie's recovery.
President Trump is defending his administration amid criticisms of tactics around immigration and voting.
Erica Brown has the latest from Capitol Hill.
President Trump told guests at Thursday's National Prayer Breakfast he is not going to fire Kristi Noem. The Homeland Security Secretary has been under fire since the shooting deaths of Minneapolis residents Alex Preddy and Renee Good.
Why would I do that? We have the strongest border in the history of our country.
But Democrats say they will not fund DHS until the Trump administration agrees to reform its immigration enforcement tactics.
Not one more penny for ICE until we get some restraints in place.
Reflecting on Minneapolis, the president told NBC News his administration could use a softer touch, but said they still have to be tough.
I'm not happy with what happened there. Nobody could be happy, and ICE wasn't happy either. But I'm going to always be with our great people of law enforcement.
President Trump is also standing by his Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. The president has said he sent her to Georgia to look into election interference. Now he says it was Attorney General Pam Bondi who wanted her there.
They say, why is she doing it? Right, Pam? Why is she doing it? Because Pam wanted her to do it. And you know why? Because she's smart.
Gabbard was on hand as the FBI raided the Fulton County Election Center, seizing voting records related to the 2020 election.
What the heck's going on here? You know, she is foreign intelligence, not domestic criminal investigations.
Trump, who insists he won the 2020 election despite losing court battles asserting that claim, now says Russia or China may have interfered. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
And CBS News has learned President Trump plans to unveil his Trump RX platform this evening. That's a website where people can order prescription medications directly from the manufacturers.
The release of millions of pages from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation is triggering fallout worldwide. In Britain, Prince Andrew has been forced from his royal home and stripped of his titles over his ties to Epstein, allegations he denies. Newly released photos appear to confirm his presence with Virginia Giuffre inside Epstein's New York home. UK police are now investigating claims from a second woman who says Epstein sent her to Britain for a sexual encounter with Andrew in 2010. The files also raise questions about former UK lawmaker Lord Peter Mendelsohn, prompting Prime Minister Keir Starmer to apologize for appointing him as U.S. ambassador.
Well, a teaser for this year's Super Bowl halftime show today stated on February 8th, the world will dance.
We learned a little bit more about what that means at the traditional halftime news conference where Bad Bunny gave us some answers. CBS's Elizabeth Cook has the details.
Bad Bunny says not to worry if you don't speak Spanish. His halftime show will be a party for everyone.
I know that I told them that they had 4 months to learn Spanish. They don't even have to learn Spanish. They just, it's better if they learn to dance. But I think there's no better dance than the one that can come from the heart.
In 2020, the Puerto Rican superstar made a surprise appearance at Shakira's halftime show, but he was tight-lipped on any surprises this year.
We ask it every year, to be fair.
I'm just trying to say all the English words that I know.
We appreciate it.
That's what I'm doing here.
The artist is fresh off 3 wins at the Grammys, where he used one of his victory speeches to make a statement on immigration.
Eyes out.
He didn't talk politics on Thursday, but earlier this week, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said he doesn't expect Bad Bunny to do so on Sunday either.
When your life flashes before your eyes, you'll see things like this.
We also heard from others performing on Sunday. Charlie Puth hopes the audience feels inspired as he belts out the national anthem.
How have I prepared? A lot of singing in the shower, a lot of singing alone.
Coco Jones is looking back in time as she prepares to sing Lift Every Voice and Sing, recognized as the Black national anthem that's been played before each of the last 5 Super Bowls.
Thinking about my grandma and my ancestors and the women that came before me and what they want to see, what they would need to see.
Brandi Carlile will perform America the Beautiful. Elizabeth Cook, CBS News, San Francisco.
Bad Bunny said today his performance is expected to last about 13 minutes, and that's a typical amount of time compared to past halftime shows.
Coming up on Live at 4, a Madison teacher has been arrested after police say he was talking with a minor in Texas.
And we're learning more details about the fatal crash that killed a 17-year-old Madison school student.
Then new information about a separate crash in Fitchburg, where the driver crashed into a car dealership. But first, Blaze has another check of the first warn forecast. Hey, the sun is staying out longer. How about that? And it's getting warmer. But our weather team is tracking some rain and snow, of course. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Live at 4. I can't help but notice people have a little more pep in their step. I think it's staying lighter longer. We're out of the deep freeze, so people see hope on the horizon.
A full hour of more sunlight now.
That's so nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Let's take a look outside today. We lost the sunshine, but it was very mild. That felt good. And maybe a little wintry mix tomorrow morning. That sounds delicious, doesn't it?
Really? Wintry mix.
Yes, we are expecting another wintry mix out there and cooler temperatures to follow that. So we'll be out of the 30s and back into the 20s for the frozen assets on Saturday. Looks like somebody is out riding their bikes on the ice. That always freaks me out, but the ice obviously is very solid. They have looked at the thickness. That is going to change as we go into later parts of next week because we are expecting temperatures to stay in the 30s and overnight lows not to be super cold, so we're going to be chipping away at that ice. But temperatures are finally in the 30s for the first time in 20 days. Nearly 3 weeks have our temperatures been not in the 30s, and our average temperature or our daytime high has been below normal. So we have been sitting underneath some cooler air since January 16th, but that has come to an end today, and we're even forecasting 40s as we head into next week. So that mix that moves in tonight, that's going to really happen as we go from the midnight hour through, I would say, about 4 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock in the morning on Friday. Future Track bringing an end to that snow activity as we get to about 6, 7 o'clock. So in the full forecast, we'll take a look at just how much snow we could wake up to on Friday and what the weekend has in store for us in just a few minutes.
All right, Blaze, thank you. First at 4:30, Madison police are investigating a deadly crash involving a student in the Madison School District. It happened this morning on Madison's south side.
And that's where we find News 3 Now's Nash Dara, who's live at the scene. Nash, what do you know so far?
Susan and Brady, it is tragic news as it has been confirmed that a 17-year-old was killed after being struck by a vehicle on his way to school earlier this morning. 911 responded to South Park Street here near Burr Oak Lane 5 minutes after the call at around 7:43 a.m. When on the scene, police began to secure the area, treat the victim, and talk to witnesses. The area is still under active investigation. I spoke with the Madison Department Public Information Officer Stephanie Fryer, who confirmed the victim's name and gender have not yet been identified.
We don't have an exact cause of, what led to this incident, but that's something that our team is working very hard on to try to bring some sort of justice to this family as they're, dealing with a very heartbreaking loss.
The female driver of the vehicle remained at the scene after the incident. The police department emphasized that the teenager did nothing wrong. He was not jaywalking when the incident happened. The investigation continues. We reached out to the Madison School District to see if they knew the school or could identify the school the student attended, but they could not confirm and or identify that school. For now, on Madison's South Side, Nash Dara, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Nash. In Fitchburg, police say 3 people are hurt after a vehicle crashed into a car dealership just before noon today. The crash was reported at Zimbrick dealership just off of Fish Hatchery Road. Police say 2 of those who were hurt were seriously injured. Emergency care was given on site and everyone was taken to a nearby hospital. The driver is cooperating and officers and police have not mentioned a possible cause of the crash, but did say it did not appear intentional.
Well, now to other developing news on this Thursday afternoon in Madison.
A school teacher in the city has been accused of possessing child sex abuse materials. Eric Franke is here to tell us what we know about the investigation.
Well, Brady, Susan, 58-year-old David Fawcett is in police custody now after an investigation by members of the Madison Police Department Special Victims Unit, among other agencies. The Madison Metropolitan School District confirming that Fawcett has been serving as a teacher at Nuestro Mundo Community School and that he has now been placed on administrative leave during this investigation. It stems from local law enforcement getting a referral from Texas authorities that Fawcett was allegedly talking online with a minor in that state. Now, officers conducted a search warrant at a residence on South Brewerly at Spate. That's just southwest of Orton Park. Fawcett has now been booked into the Dane County Jail on charges of possessing child pornography and also sexual exploitation. Now, right now, it is unclear what police found with that search warrant. We'll continue following these developments in the case right here and also on our website, channel3000.com, as well as the Channel 3000 app. Brady, Susan.
Eric, thank you. Well, right now, the Department of Public Instruction has more than $1 million in limbo.
If DPI doesn't receive money soon, it might lead to layoffs. And our Tanasia Shaw is here with more. Tanasia, lawmakers decided to delay that money, we understand, because of an article?
Yes, Susan and Brady, that's right. The Joint Finance Committee decided to hold off on approving $1 million for the current fiscal year. Chairmen say they want to look into these allegations about DPI spending. Darien Land Sentinel put an article out saying that DPI spent nearly $400,000 at a conference. The conference took place in 2024 at Wisconsin Dells. The amount spent by DPI is raising concerns. DPI says without the money, they might have to lay off staff, and this could impact how they thoroughly do their jobs. Lawmakers say that they want to look into these claims before making a final decision.
Taxpayer use of funds at a resort for a conference, and it's since it's so new, we just want the opportunity to at least review what's going on there with this questionable use of funds, at least according to that report that's very new. And so we just want to hit pause on that.
The Department of Public Instruction responded to me saying that full context is needed, saying in part, quote, "The Ford exam has been taken out of context. This was a 4-day workshop that brought together nearly 100 Wisconsin educators and national assessment experts to review the statewide assessment." They go on to say that, quote, "The figure cited in this recent politically motivated blog post is misleading. It reflects the total cost amount of administrating the workshop, including DRC staff salaries, securing laptops, meeting spaces, hotel and travel costs, lodging, and reimbursement for panelists and other vendor expenses." At the meeting on Tuesday, Rep. Mark Bourne said that this will likely take several weeks to investigate. I reached out to members of the Joint Finance Committee, but I have not heard back yet.
Tanasia, thank you. Cancer survivors across Wisconsin could soon find more support closer to home. This as Gilda's Club works to rebrand into a statewide organization, going from Gilda's Club Madison to Gilda's Club Wisconsin, with the intention to reflect its growing statewide reach of free emotional support, counseling, and education for families affected by cancer. For people like Renee Zemke, that support has been life-changing, and she hopes the statewide rebrand helps more people discover they're not alone and someone truly understands what they're going through.
I think it's important for people to know this resource is here. You know, I received a giant binder full of information, and under support, there's Gilda's. And it takes a while to open that binder sometimes. but it's important to know this is here. And there's people that understand. That's something I longed for.
Zemke says that's why expanding Gilda's reach is so important, so more patients and families who travel for treatment at places like the Carbone Cancer Center know there's a safe place to rest, share a meal, or simply just take a break between appointments.
It's a very important place in our community. We're lucky to have it. Next on Live at 4, it's something that can bring you back home mentally and maybe physically.
Yeah, and you know, some of your favorite recipes growing up likely came from church ladies in your hometown. We're showing you how a visiting chef is paying tribute to those family favorites while putting his own spin on staple comfort foods.
And speaking of the Super Bowl, the Puppy Bowl, we're getting an early idea how Animal Planet's favorite canine contest is incorporating senior dogs into the mix. I love it, for the first time ever.
And Blaze tells us more about the first warn forecast, whether things are going to stay nice for the Frozen Assets Festival, and if there will be any times next week that are perfect for getting out of the house.
We're giving the weather satellite a spin tonight. This is East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania at the Bushkill Falls. Looks like they're frozen solid today. It's 31 degrees there. Bushkill Falls is often referred to as the Niagara of Pennsylvania, featuring a series of 8 waterfalls in the Pocono Mountains.
Whether it's mom's chicken noodle hot dish or maybe your grandma's sour cream and raisin pie, you probably remember your favorite comfort foods growing up.
Your hot dish, you're giving yourself away.
I know, Minnesota, everyone.
A nationally awarded chef knows this to be true. We're going to Paoli today, where Chef Rob Connolly is serving a special dinner honoring the area recipes you may already have in your hearts and on your bookshelves.
They're going to be acorn donuts.
Chef Rob Connolly is always on the hunt.
So this is acorn that I foraged.
For something delicious.
I used a lot of acorns.
For this dinner, he's digging deep into the Paoli area's past.
This recipe, the Swiss cheese pie, really became the launching point.
Swiss cheese pie, eggs, Swiss cheese, milk, a little nutmeg, and a whole lot of love, of course. Recipe submitted by
Miss Otto Thalmann, you know, back then when we used the husband's name instead of the woman's name.
Connolly created a special menu based on 3 local mid-century cookbooks. You know the ones, those church or ladies' aid cookbooks your parents or grandparents had, and they usually had some pretty great Midwestern recipes, don't you know? Well, mostly.
In the 50s, 60s, they love pineapple, canned pineapple, whatever flavor Jell-O, and then all of a sudden tuna fish will be in there. I'm Chef Rob Connolly.
No tuna Jell-O surprise tonight, unfortunately. But Connolly picked several family favorites to remind you of home, and he's reimagining them into something new.
At the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to compete against your memory of grandma's food, right? Grandma's food is grandma's food.
As for Connolly's food,
Swiss cheese pie, I don't know. I used a fancy one. It was a Crew. That's a fancy Swiss cheese, right?
It's not grandma's, but it got a grand reception.
Oh man, the beef was fantastic.
Frank Hack grew up in the area and even knows the woman whose hot dish inspired tonight's beef entree, Esther Sarbacher.
Esther just lives a half mile down the road here.
Hack showed cattle with her sons and says this dinner is a great way to honor the food he grew up with.
I think she'd be flattered to know that this Connolly took her dish and expanded on it.
For Connolly, a James Beard finalist, it's not just about what's on the plate. A sort of food historian, he wants to tell a story about what makes Paoli's cuisine special to give you a roadmap to the past.
There's comfort there. There's peace there. When you have a rough time, where do you go? You go back home. I do think a meal like this has the potential to do that for some people.
In the end, Chef Rob Connolly got what he was hunting for. Families sitting at a table, sharing tales of times gone by over something delicious.
These are recipes that are 60, 70, 80 years old. They're going to get a sense of what this community was 75 years ago. And maybe they'll leave with a better sense of what this part of Wisconsin is like through how it tasted.
And thanks to 7 Acre Dairy for having us out a couple weeks ago for that menu. So it's already happened, but didn't it look really great?
What a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to try the Swiss cheese pie.
It sounds good, doesn't it?
Swiss cheese, eggs, and milk. That's it in a pie crust, right?
Yeah, an onion if you desire, if you want to get a little crazy with it. Well, Chef Rob, I love this. He says he doesn't just learn these recipes with a background in research. He says he really likes to dive deep into an area's history to learn more about why we all eat the things that we eat here.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What a great story.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
I hope he does it again.
Yeah, come on back.
Yeah. Now let's check the weather. The thermometer is just barely breaking freezing this afternoon. Blaze?
That's right. Finally, for the first time in nearly 3 weeks, we got into the 30s. The first time since January 16th. Our high temperatures have not only been in the 30s, but have been above normal for this time of year. And this trend looks to continue pretty much through the rest of our extended forecast, except for Saturday. Saturday, we are back into the 20s, but it is short-lived. 30s return on Sunday, 40s by Monday. So we are going to quickly warm up and do a decent amount of melting. So get out and enjoy the ice while it is still safe to do so, because as we go further into our extended forecast, that ice is likely going to become thinner and thinner as temperatures warm on up. We're looking at a wide view of Radar 3000 because this is our snow beginning to move into International Falls. That is going to be impacting us as we get closer to the midnight hour through the early morning hours on Friday. This is the end of this Clipper system that is going to probably bring most of us about a half an inch of snow, maybe a light rain snow mix by the time this wraps up about 6-7 o'clock tomorrow morning, maybe even slightly earlier, especially for folks further north and west. South and east, parts of Jefferson, Walworth, and Rock counties, we may be dealing with that lingering snow activity through probably 6, maybe 6:30 at the latest. An incoming high pressure system is going to move on in. Our fair weather friends, because this is moving out of Canada, it's going to bring down some cooler air, but clear out the clouds overnight into the first half of Saturday. So we're looking at about a half an inch of snow at best for a majority of eastern parts of our forecast area. Once again, southwestern Wisconsin, we're likely not going to get any snow from this second round before we head into the weekend. 40s on Monday, mid 40s on Tuesday. We're hanging out above freezing all throughout next week, which means a lot of melting. So again, if you are still wanting to get out on the ice, especially by Friday, Valentine's Day, and then further into that Sunday, please just make sure that you are being careful. We are likely not going to be cold enough during especially the nighttime hours to really build back the ice that will likely melt away during the daytime. Compared to normal for this time of year, a lot of our high temperatures that we're forecasting, 5, 10, 15 degrees above average as we kick off next week. We should be in the upper 20s for this time of year, but instead, as you just saw, we're going to be in the 30s and even the 40s. Except for Saturday. That's when we'll be back into the 20s, so don't put away the winter stuff quite yet if you're going to be out on the lake. Dress for the occasion, but we are back into the 30s by Sunday. There's a look at the 7 and 10-day forecast. Crazy to believe that Valentine's Day is already on our extended forecast. Mid-30s, plenty of sunshine with little to no rain or snow chances over the next 7 to 10 days.
All right, Blaze, thank you. It's almost time for Animal Planet's annual Puppy Bowl.
Yeah, that's the real deal, right? Team Ruff will take on Team Fluff. This year's Canine Sports event on Super Bowl Sunday will look a little different, though. For the first time, there will be 15 pups with special needs and a special exhibition game that will spotlight senior dogs available for adoption. Team Oldies versus Team Goldies. I love those names. In all, the Puppy Bowl will highlight 150 dogs from more than 70 shelters, including 2 from Wisconsin. You can watch on Animal Planet, Discovery, TBS, True TV, HBO Max, and Discovery Plus this Friday.
The senior dogs are always pure sugar.
I know, aren't they the best?
Very nice.
Well, coming up after the break, we are covering the 4 most important stories of the day in the afternoon sprint.
It's 4:53, time for the afternoon sprint.
Madison police are investigating a deadly crash involving a Madison Metropolitan School District student this morning on Madison's south side. A 17-year-old was killed after being hit by a vehicle on their way to school. The exact cause of this incident is still unknown as police look for factors such as impairment, speed, and other possible components.
In Fitchburg, police say a car crashed into a car dealership. It happened just before noon today. The crash was reported at Zimbrick, just off of Fish Hatchery Road. When we spoke to a fire department spokesperson earlier today, they were not yet able to share information about whether anyone was injured in the crash.
A school teacher in the city has been accused of possessing child sex abuse materials. 58-year-old David Fawcett is now in police custody. It stems from local law enforcement getting a referral from Texas authorities that Fawcett was allegedly talking online with a minor in that state. Fawcett is a teacher at Nuestro Mundo Community School, and he has been placed on administrative leave.
Landlord-tenant disputes topped Wisconsin's consumer complaints once again last year. The state says it received more than 2,600 written complaints related to rental housing, the highest of any category for the fourth year in a row. Common issues included unsafe living conditions, withheld security deposits, evictions, and unauthorized entry.
And we are tracking quiet conditions through the rest of this evening, but after we get into that midnight hours you're seeing here, we'll start to see that chance for some snow move on in. That snow is going to be light. We're looking at about a half an inch at most for a lot of southern Wisconsin. Should be wrapping up as we get into the morning commute time frame on Friday. At 5, Alex will have the latest on Friday's snow and the upcoming weekend.
All right, Blaze, thank you. We'll be right back.
Well, coming up on News 3 Now at 5, we have some snow and rain chances overnight. We hear an update from the city of Madison on how crews will be responding to the weather. And the American Society of Plastic Surgeons asking for a pause in gender-affirming surgeries for those under 19 years old, asking for more research. How Wisconsin health officials and the White House are reacting. Thanks for watching Live at 4 today. We'll see you back here tomorrow. You can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.